Hello, and welcome to another day of living with Spina Bifida. Today is Mental Health Monday, and I am going to be talking to you about executive function disorder. Now, a child or an adult with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder might be hyperactive, inattentive, and or impulsive. Doctors have always understood hyperactivity and impulsivity. The understanding of inattention, though, has shifted primarily from the inability to stay on task to a broader concept called executive function disorder, which involves a pattern of chronic difficulties in executing daily tasks. Around the time of puberty, the frontal part of the cortex of the brain starts to mature, allowing individuals to perform higher level tasks like those required in executive function. Think of executive function as what the chief executive officer of a company must do: analyze, organize, decide, and execute. Very similarly, the 6 steps of executive function: analyze a task, plan how to address the task, organize the steps needed to carry out the task, develop timelines for completing the task, adjust or shift the steps if needed to complete the task, complete the task in a timely way. What is executive function disorder? It follows naturally that someone with issues with executive functioning may have problems with analyzing, planning, organizing, scheduling, and completing tasks at all, or on a deadline. Recognize the signs and symptoms of executive function disorder. Children and adults with EFD have problems organizing materials and setting schedules. They misplace papers, reports, and other school materials. They might have similar problems keeping track of their personal items or keeping their bedroom or entire house organized. No matter how hard they try, they fall short. The difference between ADHD and EFD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and affective function disorder. Marcus, a 5th grader, had difficulty staying on task and completing his schoolwork. He also had problems keeping his backpack and papers organized and remembering what to bring home from or take to school. Psychoeducational testing showed that he was bright, but he had difficulty processing speed and working memory. These findings, plus other studies, showed evidence of difficulties with executive function. The psychologist concluded that Marcus had ADHD, inattentive type, and started him on a stimulant medication. He showed significant improvement in all areas. Ethan, a 6th grader, received the same diagnosis, but received different results. The presenting problems and the psychoeducational test results were the same as Marcus's. Ethan was given a stimulant, but his symptoms did not improve. Closer review of his psychoeducational test results showed he had problems retaining what he had read and with written work. Ethan had EFD, but his problems resulted in learning disabilities. He needed tutoring plus accommodations to overcome his challenges. If you look at the criteria used to diagnose ADD and ADHD inattentive type, you could understand why an EFD child might be diagnosed as having ADHD. But it's important to know that EFD can cause learning disabilities. EFD can be a reflection of ADHD, but it also might indicate a learning disability. When a professional evaluating a child or adult finds evidence of executive function disorder, it is essential for them to clarify whether the disorder results in ADD, ADHD, LD, or both. Only then can the child receive proper treatment. There are many effective strategies one can use when faced with problems with effective function disorder. Take step-by-step approaches to work, rely on visual organizational aids, use tools like time organizers, computers, or watches with alarms, prepare visual schedules and review them several times a day, ask for written directions with oral instructions whenever possible, plan and structure transition times and shifts in activities, create checklists and to-do lists estimating how long tasks will take, break long assignments into chunks, and assign time frames for completing each chunk. You can even do that for chores if you want to, or really anything that any sort of task that will take a long time in your life. Be sure when you have due dates, appointments, any sort of function with a date, you write it down in multiple places if need be. Organize your workspace. Organize as much as you possibly can in your life. Minimize clutter. Consider having separate work areas with completely separate sets of supplies for each of your different activities that you have in your life. Whether it be you have homework, you have regular work, papers, crafts, whatever it be. Don't do it all in one work area. Schedule a weekly time to organize those workspaces. The bottom line, the brain continues to mature and develop connections well into adulthood, and a person's executive function abilities are shaped by both physical changes in the brain and life experiences in a classroom, in the workplace, and in the world at large. Early attention to developing efficient skills in this area can be very helpful. And as a rule, direct instruction, frequent reassurance, and explicit feedback are strongly recommended.